Alright guys, so hello and welcome to Stint 5 here for the 24 Hours of Le Mans at Enduro GT. My name is Fries. I'm gonna host this stint here on the comms. Right now we're looking very good here at dawn in France. Race is underway for quite a few minutes. Quite a few hours, I should say. And as you can see here, the Aston Martin, yes, sadly, deliveries are not loading for me here. Like none of them, unfortunately. It's a pity, so I can't show you the beautiful designs some of those teams came up with, especially for the bigger ones. So, as you can see here, some guys are still in the first laps. We will have some shake-ups here and there. And we're almost ready to start with our formation lap for this stint. So hopefully the liveries for all the cars will load up in the actual race lobby or race once the lobby started it. So the way it's gonna work for those who are new to the channel or new to the concept of endurance racing in GT is we are going to have one outlap. Everybody has to return to the pit lane and wait for the driver in their respective stint 4 lobby to pit, come to a still stand and tell the boys and girls here in the lobby to start their stint. They then can select their tires, fuel up their cars and leave the pits. This is done to have the proper formation and standings down for all of them. So unfortunately, liveries are still not loading for most of the cars. It's a pity, but we can't change it, so we'll have to live with it. I'm gonna try not to sit too much on my own team's car. The normally beautiful design, French-inspired R8 livery here. But I'm trying to show you guys the actual good standings. So, as you can see, some of those guys are collecting a penalty in their formation laps, especially here Pan Am in the GTR. Another Team Full Push special livery edition for this race here. And it looks like he's either just pushing on the outlap or is leading his class, but that's gonna show afterwards. So let's have a look at the drivers and their teams. We have Icon Emir, also known as Distinct Icon Emir, driving for Team Full Push, the number 25 car, their LMP1 entry. Then we have, of course, LSR Pan Am. We've already been over him, Team Full Push, number 255. Nissan GTR. Then we have Cam 44. He is in a Ferrari, and as I said, we can't see the livery, so y'all have to trust me on the starting numbers here. And it's probably easier if I do it like this. It's Cam Dude, where is his nickname? He isn't even on the list here. Yes, there he is. It's Team Full Push with another car, number 97. Then we have Andrino, also known as Darth Vader, in the number 18, 9 Pegasus Pantera Racing Audi R8. Another car without the proper livery here, just the standard ones loading for me. Which is a pity, because I actually made the livery, you can see on the bottom left there. Then we have Klusman in the number 24 AMG for Phoenix Competition Team FHR. S7R pole setter. In the number, what is it, 64 for QRT. Then we have Sanya Golfo in the number 71 for Short and Sweet Racing. Sir Ducky, number 711, Cabin Academy Nissan GTR. Dylan Pro Nova Esports in the number 87 Lamborghini. Then we have No Skill in the, I can't read it, but I guess it's High Caliber Racing for 27. We have Big Mac in the number 15 R18 for Phoenix Competition Esports. And last but not least, it's JD Cunningham in the, what is it, 52 Spider GT Aston Martin V12 Vantage. Number didn't load on the screen, that's why I was looking again. So now all the guys entered the pits, waiting for the signals. We're just waiting for the first cars to leave the pit lane, while JD still not in the pits. So we will know in a few seconds which car is positioned where, and the liveries are still not loading for me. Yeah, again, it's a shame. It's not even affecting all of the cars, which is even weirder to me. And please excuse my sometimes very easy used English pronunciations, because I'm from Germany, but I'm trying not to spend 2 beautiful hours with you guys here in the night in Le Mans. So good, Mulsan. still see no guys or girls here are working on the cars because they're still waiting for the signal to go. Let's have a look at the tire choices of the teams. So Spider GT is opting for the Pirelli tires. Then we have Michelin for High Caliber Racing, and for number 15 from Phoenix, it's Michelin for Nova Esports Hankook tires. Interesting choice for short and sweet here. Michelin again for Cabin Academy as well as for QRT. Team AMG is running with no brand tires. I don't know about them. But it's because it's not loading. I can see Goodyear, I believe. 9PP Racing opted for Bridgestone tires. Here we have Pirelli's on the Team Full Push Ferrari as well. Michelin for the other teams as well. So we're just gonna see and wait how long it takes for the first cars to leave here before it's start for Stint 5. Are eagerly waiting to bring out their cars on track again. Team Full Push here with a costly half a second penalty, which costs around a second on this track here. And I'd like to turn off the music, but I can't do it unfortunately, so yeah, we have to live with it. But yeah, season is coming to an end today. Le Mans marks the final race of this year's endurance calendar for Enduro GT. Whilst my furry co-commentator and former of one of my cats started to eat plastic again. So we're back, and I heard a car going out, and it's number 64 Aston Martin. QRT currently in P1. Cars driven now by Paul Sitter. He's off into the night here at Le Mans. And I'm just gonna give you a quick little overview about how our seasons went. So we started the season at Daytona with 3 LMP1 cars by Bing Chilling, by P1 High Caliber Racing and TFP, and for the LMGT3 we had Spider GT, Nova Motors Esports, Nova Racing and Kawata Racing Club. Race was won by Bing Chilling for the LMP1s and Spider GT number 52 in LMGT3. Then we went over to Barcelona, 6 hours, 3 stints, full grid for the first time in this season in race 2. We even had the pre-qualifying for LMGT3, which basically means some teams didn't even got the chance to qualify for the race itself. Spider GT number 95 won that for the LMGT3s. and Bing Chilling overtook High Caliber Racing for the lead after 236 laps, so 7 laps prior to the end. Now we have number 52 Spider GT out on track as well. So both the Aston Martins, the most overpowered or fastest car, top speed wise probably here in the class, are out on track. And let's see if we have some traffic in the pit lane. Not yet, but they have a gap of 1 minute. So JD has to drive perfectly over 2 hours and hope for some kind of mistakes by pole sitter to close the gap to really end the season on the highest note possible after securing the championship last race, which is a little bit of foresight for the little review of the season I'm gonna go through with you guys here. After Barcelona, we went to Spa, 24 hours at one of the most famous racetracks known in this world. 13 cars entered, and Spider GT number 95 won that race as well in the LMGT3s. Then we had the 12 hours of Watkins Glen. LMGT3 was won by Short and Sweet for the first time. High Caliber Racing drivers crashed in the last 2 laps, gifting Bing Chilling the win, really making the championship battle interesting over there. Then we went to Suzuka for 8 hours, full grid again, and Aston Martin with the number 52 Spider GT won that race again, and High Caliber Racing won for the LMGT1s in wet weather. Then we had a summer break where we had to test out some stuff at Red Bull Ring, but that wasn't raceable for us. And we can see Andrinho in the R8 now out of the pit lane as well. So P3 in the GT3 class for 9PP Racing, a team we entered fairly late over the course of the season. So we've never been there into contention for the championship, but for the vibes we wanted to attend here. 3.5 minutes gap to the leaders at the moment, with a not loading livery, unfortunately. Would have loved to show you some of the details we put in here as a team, but again, I'm going to try to not be too much on my own team's driver. After the summer break, we kicked off at Fuji, 6 hours. First race for us as 9PP. Full grid again. We didn't qualify there with a newly assembled squad for endurance racing. Just hadn't had the experience track-wise, car-wise and format-wise to proper get it down and attend there. Spider GT and Inferno had a very, very fierce battle in the GT3 class there, but Spider GT was able to win that. And Bing Chilling won the LMP1s, so back and forth between them and High Caliber Racing there. Then we had Petit Le Mans, second to last race, and it was the match point for Bing Chilling in the LMPs and Spider GT in the GT3 class. TFP showed up with a powerhouse of a lineup to get their first win of the season, which they managed to do and took over pole position over Bing Chilling. And in the first stint they had a driver to manage about 30 seconds gap to P2, but in stint 2 the driver managed to crash the car twice, and Bing Chilling got the lead back and held onto it to the end, so they won that thing there. So Le Mans here really is just a little farewell tour. We can see the first LMPs are out of the pits as well, with Emir and No Skill. 26-second gap. Yeah, I know that the background music is on. Unfortunately, I can't enter the pause menu. I'm very sorry about that. I need to do it like this then, quickly. Because normally it should have been off. Do it like this. Yes, yes, yes. And now we're back here. So Emir and No Skill are fairly close together. Big Mac is out of the pits now, as well as Cam Dude for TFP in their newly entered Ferrari here. Probably a little foresight of next year's entry for them. Like I said, some liveries didn't load for me, so please don't wonder why some of the cars just look bone stock here. So it's just Kuzman, Kian, Xene and Dylan still in the pits. And Nova Motor seem to have some issues here today. Still being in the pit lane, that is. Same goes for an LMP car, and Ducky now gets ready to join the track in his Nissan GTR. Fairly late, but the crew is getting the car ready. For the Kevin Academy crew, number 711. And I just hope the stream works fine for all of you. Should be at 60 FPS. And you can see that the gap between Polsitter and JD got a bit closer now. And Andrino still has about 2.5 minutes to JD. So just let me know if something's wrong with the stream. Stint after this will be covered by our beloved friend Rekas from America, so the Midnight Stint is covered as well. And just in time for the race, the R8 actually got a little bump for the BOP by reducing weight and adding power, so it's actually more capable for Le Mans. It's just not the screaming V10. Working good on sound, but also on performance now. And we have Emir overtaking Polsitter here on Mulsanne Straight in his trusted Audi R18 with some John Deere sponsoring here. He's probably making fun of the car being a tractor sometimes with the diesel engine. And I mean, this is a car that has had some great success here at this track, or at endurance races in general, we should say. And it really is a shame that Audi completely cut off all racing related stuff after joining the F1 project. So they have their full focus on their new F1 car for next season. So we will probably not see another hypercar, prototype, LMP1, whatever you want to call it nowadays, entry from the German manufacturer. Let's see if we have a gap somewhere else. So we have Dylan close to Kian. We're gonna watch for that battle in class here, because as you can see, they're fairly close together, just about 5 seconds of a gap between the Nissan and the Lamborghini. As we can see, the gap actually is increasing a bit between Dylan and Kian. So the Nova driver really needs to pick up the pace. And he's now having to be very cautious with the LMP1 approaching from behind. There's always room for error in these multi-class setups, especially in the night when the track is darker, when the concentration is slowly fading away. But as you can see, No Skill showed he has some skill by overtaking the Lamborghini, but here now has... Why is the background music on again? Just turn it off. What the fuck is going on here? I'm sorry, guys. I will just put it out. Do it like this, this. It should have been off completely. I don't get it. It is what it is. So let's see again here. Yeah, we now are at 5.6 seconds. Hello, Andrea. At 5.8 seconds gap between Dylan and Ducky, or Kian, whatever you want to call them. Liveries are not loading again. But he's really pushing his little Nissan, trying to close the gap towards Cam. And Andrino is 3.4 or 3 minutes 40 seconds behind the leader now. Can't really say anything about the gap now between P3 for the GT3s and P2 because the LMP1 from Emir is between them. But so far this race has been very, very clean. We saw some meticulous driving skills from all the drivers involved in our season finale here at Enduro GT. As you can see, Dylan's really losing time towards Ducky, so the Lamborghini isn't working great here for Nova. So this 24-hour race works as a 24-hour race, basically. We're driving, racing, whatever you want to call it, for 24 hours. We have Group 1 and Group 3 cars, as they're called in Gran Turismo in the lobby. And as you can see on the top left, the lap count, we have a designated lap to pit for each class. And then the race will switch over to another lobby where the next driver up is waiting for a signal to start his stint after a swift formation lap. So basically we will have pit stops working as a lobby changer, as a stream changeover later for the next commentator for the next 2 hours then. So we can have proper racing. But yeah, Dylan is really losing his time. So let's just switch over to the LMP1 leader Emir on board here in the passenger camera. As you can see, the LMP1 car is actually a right-hand drive car, which makes sense because most tracks have more right-hand turns, so you want to be close to them, and also makes driver changes easier when the pit, building, garages, whatever you want to call them, are on the right-hand side of the car. As you can tell, the visibility in those type of cars isn't that great. And I've tried to figure out which track is on the top right there for the scan. It should be Bahrain if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is Bahrain. Another track we're still missing in this game, unfortunately, but let's hope they will add it later on for even more proper endurance races. And Emi is really working his car through the first turns here of the Circuit de la Sarthe. King managed to bring down the gap to 27 seconds. It was around 29 in the beginning. So he's slowly approaching Emir in hopes to overtake the class leader and gain P1 for high caliber racing. We have the Screaming V10 of 9PP Racing, piloted by Darth Vader, aka Andrino here, in his second endurance race overall. So he just started league racing not that long ago, but he's shown some great improvements over the last 2 races already. So we can expect a lot more from him over the course of next season's races. Especially if he's gonna be seated in a car that suits his driving even better. Big Mac's closing in towards the leading group. As you can see, Cam actually has a penalty, and Ducky's now at 6.5 seconds of a gap to Dylan behind him. And I just hope that my rusty English will become more fluent and more better and more complicated over the course of the next few hours, I should say. Because if you don't speak it that regular, you can probably imagine how hard it is to become fluent in it again, even if you're alone in the commentating booth here. But yeah, some cars are DNF already, unfortunately. They crashed out, whatever, with the cars over the first 4 stints already, so we're down to 11 contestants now. Okay, the camera just made it look weird. I almost thought Dylan crashed the car there. But he's still trying and fighting his Lambo. And JD backed off of pole sitter again, 1.11 minutes gap. And he has Emir approaching now. Oh no, it's not Emir, it's... who's the car behind him? I can't tell, unfortunately. Yeah, I really can't tell here. Now I can. It's Klusman and Furo. So he has a GT3 and another LMP1 behind him. Now let's listen to the V12 of his Aston Martin roaring through the French night here. Another overtake here from an LMP1 against the GT3. And Furo really has to pick up the pace to unlap himself. With a penalty. King is going to like to hear that, but he almost lost the car there as we switched the camera over to him. 6/10 up on purple at the moment. Let's see how much the gap is going to be reduced by the penalty. 8 seconds up on the fastest lap now for King here. You can see the gap shrinking. It was almost 27 seconds, now we're below 26 seconds, so Emil lost over a second because of that penalty there. Now to 27 seconds again. And King is not gonna get the fastest lap. He lost out time later on the lap. So Emil still has the fastest overall lap here for all the cars. While we can see most LMGT3s are around the 4-minute mark per lap. Emil with yet another penalty here. He's really forcing it at the moment. We'll have some Big Mac with a penalty. Ducky Dillon now with a penalty too. After getting the gap down to 5.2 seconds again. Ducky looks way better on fuel and tires compared to the Lamborghini from Nova Motorsports here. Dillon is now losing time towards Ducky again. So Kevin really is pushing the GTR now. And amazingly, sometimes Dillon manages to pull out a bit of time towards the LMP1 behind him. But that's gonna be no matter shortly, because he's going to get passed on the Mulsanne straight by Furo here. So next car up. Dillon with yet another penalty. So the penalties will be interesting to see later on. And Big Mac needs to make way for a faster car. That's not true, because the car behind him, overall P1 ranked in this lobby, is the GT3 for a pole sitter. Yet another car here with a stock livery, same goes for Cam. Ducky is on a stock livery at the moment as well. Yes, it is. So we're gonna go on board with Klusman here. King managed to get the fastest lap to him now. So yeah, we are with Klusman now in his number 24 AMG for Felix competition team FHR, and listen to this beautiful German V8 roar. We're now 6 laps in our lobby here, so 5 laps of pure racing been done, and Klusman is now last in the lobby. About to overtake JD here, who has some trouble coming out of the corner, but clean overtake here by Emir. So onboard with JD now in his Aston Martin. Trying to find the limit with his car here. This number 52 Spider GT car. One minute 12 gap towards P1 at the moment for him. We still have a lot of racing to do in this stint, so almost everything is still possible. We can have some crashes, we can have some spins. Luckily for the drivers, during the night the lobby is very, very small, so we don't have 16 cars or even more cars whatsoever here. Yeah, JD is probably aiming towards the P1 overall at some point here, hoping to have the better strategy choices over pole sitter. But with all the learned tricks, tips, possible strategies over the last stints, we'll probably be on the equal tire and fuel choice, so don't expect the strategy to be the important point here. It's gonna be more of a clean drive overall to secure a good spot for the next stint, and just to not lose the car during the night here. It's the main priority for everybody. As we have King off the track now, exactly what I just told you guys. You have to stick on the black stuff called tarmac in a race car, because we're not racing dirt or rally cars here, and that cost him a huge amount of time towards Emir again, after getting the gap down over the last few laps, even getting the fastest overall time around the circuit here. He's throwing away the car. Luckily for me, he did not pick up damage. So you can just hope that he is not gonna lose his focus after that costly mistake here. And high caliber racing is not gonna enjoy seeing the crashes here. Now he's flashing the GT3 car on the straight. JD signaling, hey, I'm gonna stay right, go over to the left side by using his turn signals. So that worked like a sweet charm there. But as you can see, the gap to Emir is almost at 30 seconds again. So he lost over 5 to 6 seconds on that little journey over the grass here in France. While we switch through the grid here, we can see nobody has picked up damage so far. Good for them. And Emir is about to overtake the next car. This time it's Ducky. And we can also see that Dylan is a bit closer again. No, he isn't. 7.5 seconds of a gap now. So Emir is now going to have to find a safe way around the Nissan GTR. Oh, and Kian touched the wall there. Emir is going around the outside, makes it stick, did not lose the car. Great showing in how to safely overtake a GT3 car and just not dive bomb the hell out of them. Losing time towards Kian again here. So it's a back and forth between the two of our drivers here. One for Cabin Academy, the other one for Nova Motors Esports. The gap is shrinking and then increasing again, and shrinking and increasing again. But as of now, Dylan is losing more time overall than gaining. So over the course of the last few laps, the gap constantly increased. And Andrino is about to be overlapped by pole sitter, which isn't really wondering if we look at the timings. Andrino is about 4 minutes down per lap and pole sitter is 3:56, 57. So around 3 to 4 seconds faster per lap, and Andrino now makes space there for him. Lets the Aston Martin fly by. And now he's just putting his car in the tow, letting pole sitter pull him over the straights here. Should help him to save some tire and fuel while not losing out on speed. Well, pole sitter touched the gravel there. So it seems to me like the guys are slowly getting tired, making small mistakes here and there. You just gotta hope for them that those small mistakes here and there are not turning into one huge mistake that could cost them heavily, I should say, to be more correct on my English. Ducky yet with another penalty, but the gap towards Dylan is around 9.5 seconds large, so no real trouble for him here. But even with the penalty, he managed to actually increase the gap to Dylan. So Dylan is really slow at the moment. Question now is if it's just the late time of the day for him, or if he's just having trouble around the track in the dark, which would showcase some lack of practice in the night, you could argue. Touching curb there, car throwing up some sparks. But he's now losing time again after gaining a minimum amount. Now he's gaining again on the short straight here, using the Lamborghini's V10 engine. But if he's continued driving like that, he's not gonna catch Kian in his Nissan. Gaps above 10 seconds again now, so we don't really see a fight here whatsoever. Dylan just needs to hope for a mistake by Kian to really get the gap down, be able to attack him or put some pressure on the Nissan guy. Whilst Cam and the TFP Ferrari is still 2.5 minutes away from Andrino in the 9PP Racing Audi R8, sliding through the corners here. And amazingly, we still have a LMP1 Racing all the way back here with Furo in the number 71 short and sweet car. But he is almost reaching P7 here, trying to make up for the lost time during the last stints for his team. Said we've covered almost 9 hours racing so far. Still a long way to go here. He's now overtook Cam into P7 overall here. Still a long way to go for him. As you can see, King's closely approaching Posted now, moving towards P2 overall in his high caliber racing R18 TDI. King has got the gap down to 24, now 23.9 seconds towards Emir again. Really pushing the car now. And King actually is entering the pits now here. Emir still has some fuel left, but King's tank is empty. That's probably why he was able to push that hard and that fast. So let's watch the high caliber racing pit crew here, changing tires and refueling their car. Going to 56% of fuel. And amazingly, Emir still has almost half a tank of fuel left in his car. And Emir now has the lead back to a comfortable margin. is cruising all on his own in the lead here. Pole sitter leading the LMGT3 class. But King is approaching him again. Here we have JD on the Mulsanne in his Aston Martin. Championship winning Spider GT entry. As you can see, some teams actually made sure to grab some American drivers to make up for the time difference, because for most of them it's now during the middle of the day, so they should be well rested, fully able to concentrate on the races here in the night time. R8 from Darth Vader again. King approaching him now. So let's just hope there is nothing happening between the two of them. And that worked out good for both. Yeah, livery still not loading on the R8. Cam with yet another penalty. Being overtaken by Emir again. Whilst the gap between Dylan and Ducky is above 14 seconds now. In his V6 turbo Nissan GTR. All the way at the back here we have Guzman for Phoenix competition team FHR. Now being approached by Big Mac. Caution here. But Big Mac overtaking him on the inside there without any problems. Until it now went to the pits to pick up some fresh rubber and refuel his car. So he's now in P11 overall for Nova Motors Esports. King apparently had a mistake. Gap down to, or up to 1 minute 11 I should say. 1 second penalty for him to be served now after the 2 corners. JD's signaling, hey, I'm gonna stay right again towards the LMP1 approaching. Really showing great awareness of his surroundings with all the faster cars approaching him on the straights all the time. Yet he still has over 1:10 gap towards the pole sitter, which coincidentally is named pole sitter as well. While Darth Vader has 2:50 0.3 of a gap towards P2 in class. And Furo is still behind some GT3 cars for short and sweet racing. And again, we can see the indicating by JD. So Furo has it a bit easier to overtake him, but he's now gonna save the 1 second penalty. So JD is probably gonna overtake him again. Funnily enough, JD has some laps ahead of Furo. He's staying back there, so he's not going to try to interfere with the other P1. Here we have Cam, 44, Team Full Push Ferrari. But yeah, it's been a bright season. We had some tough battles for the championships. Really makes a great end of the season, this race here today and tomorrow. Or yesterday and today, I should say. Almost, for depending on which time zone you're at. Cam with a nice little power slide off the corner there. It looks fantastic, but costs time. And if I were him, I'd focus on gaining time instead of looking pretty out of the corners. Well, you can see some cars here still running, and Dylan is now actually losing time towards Klusman. Which isn't exactly what he's hoping for towards the AMG pilot. Somewhat close battle between the three at the back here, each being about 22, 23, 24 seconds off of each other. Dylan, I just saw it, picked up another penalty in his Lamborghini. So he really seems to have some issues here around the track in the dark. Fingers crossed for him and his team that he's going to pick up the pace. Now he may just do his fastest lap overall if it weren't for the penalty. As you can tell, his current personal best was in lap 4, and every lap after that was slower. So maybe he just overdrove his tires in the beginning. He's half a second up from his personal best, which would put him in the 4:01 markings. But again, he has the penalty. It will cost him, so it's not gonna be his personal fast lap here, I'd say, or I guess. So far, all the fast laps were early, and now Vader's pitting for his first set of fresh tires. So let's see how good the 9PP pit crew trained dark pit stops here. Good on the tire changes, now they're refueling the car, which takes some time here in the league. And Ducky's in the pits as well. Out of the pits he goes. And if I saw it correctly, we only have sub 4-minute laps at GT3 from pole sitter. JD. Cam did 1, 2, or a few sub 4-minute laps. Klusman did some 2 now. Ducky didn't. Dylan didn't. And if I saw it right, Vader as well, he didn't do it either. So he's on a medium tires now. Fuel is all the way up to the max for him. So we can expect a very, very long stint from him here. Furo's on the mediums at the moment too. So just Furo, Vader, and Ducky on the medium tires. And Dylan and Ducky are now very, very close towards each other after the pit stop by Ducky. And Dylan now needs to make sure to come really, really close towards the Nissan. He still has to serve the 1-second penalty later this lap, so he can't let the Nissan drive away now. Let's jump on board and see him chasing his opponent, but he's actually losing time on the straights here. The Nissan going just a tiny bit faster than the Lamborghini. See, it's not much, it's 4 or 5 kilometers per hour faster. But over the length of the straight here at Le Mans, you can actually feel that. But out of the corner, the Lamborghini is way superior to the Nissan now, reducing the gap by 50%. Sub 1 minute mark, now he has to tow as well. If I were him, I would not overtake him after the chicane. I would wait for the hard braking right-hander. And it seems like he's exactly doing that, but he's way better in the corner than Ducky at the moment. Ducky on the cold, slower tires too. So Dylan now needs to do the move. Because he can't lose the Nissan. Especially because he's on a 2-stop strategy. Flashing his lights, pulling over to the right. TV camera it is. Direct race towards the apex. Ducky moving over, closing out the gap. Can we see the switchback? No. Dylan is covering the inside, so now he's in the lead between the two. It's not the actual lead, of course, it's P10, but the lead for the battle of P10. Now Ducky needs to stay close to the Lamborghini to not lose out on the tire disadvantage he has on the mediums. At least for the moment, he has the tire disadvantage. And as you can see, Big Mac, yeah, sure, I can switch over to him for a moment. I will now revert back to the battle for P10 because we actually have some racing going on. Dylan on the fast tire because of the penalties, and now on or in P11 again. He just needs to make sure to not overheat his tires driving behind the Nissan in the dirty air here. I hope the timing you saw for Big Mac was enough. If not, I will switch back to him again in a few. But now Dylan on the exits. He is way better on traction with the soft tire. You can really see, and he needs to overtake Ducky before all the corners happening in a few seconds. Trying to pull out or build out a little gap before Mulsanne straight, but he is not able to do it. Ducky's covering his position. He's defending with everything he has at the moment. So Ducky in the tow, directly tucked in behind the Nissan of Kian of Cabin Academy. When will Dylan go for the overtake? Remember guys, bump drafting is forbidden, and Vader just cost a penalty, I believe, for JD, which doesn't matter because JD is far ahead. Vader needs to focus on driving, not texting. Who gave him a mobile phone in his cockpit? And Dylan and Ducky in the sprint race towards the apexes, but Dylan is pulling out against Kian, tucking in behind the Nissan. It's great racing we can see from the two of here. Or from the two, I should just say, it's easier. And correct, too. Now, it's not against the rules. Yeah, perfect. Bump draft then. Go! I just read something earlier today that bump drafting is forbidden. Small misinformation by me then. Anyways, Dylan made the move stick through the second chicane on the straight. But now Ducky can use the tow. And Dylan just needs to take advantage of the grip the soft tire offers compared to the medium. Yeah, like I said, I just read something earlier today on the server where somebody said like bump drafting is not allowed, if I remember correct, and that's all I've read while shopping. Anyways, Dylan is now between P9 and P10. Yeah, well, with some of the drivers we've witnessed earlier in the season, maybe it would have been smart to give at least a little bit of warning about not bump drafting all the time, you know? So, yeah, great, my YouTube is not showing me the messages again. Because Flame Haze's messages are not shown fully sized for me. I just gotta restart my little browser here. Maybe that helps. Gap of P6 and P7. Sure, you can. Yeah. Yeah, my YouTube is not working on the computer at the moment. My phone is about to die off, so I'd really appreciate it if you can type your messages as short as possible. P4 pulsar där. it out. P8 is the Ferrari. Yes, P8 is the Ferrari. So on my phone I can see all the comments. Just gotta unplug my controller real quick. So now it says it's disconnected, and use that cable to charge the phone to be able to keep up with all messages here. Should be good to go now. So yeah, Dylan and Ducky now. No, we have hypercars. We have Furo, 1, 2, 3, 4 hypercars on track. Shadow. So yeah, but the gap between Ike and Emir and King is substantial, with over a minute as of now, but Emir needs to pit soon. But Ricky, please correct me if I'm wrong in chat, but I believe we had 2 hypercars drop out. And Emir is now doing his pit stop. So if King is able to pull out a great rest of the lap, he might take over the lead here. No, it's 1 hypercar that dropped out. That's right. And I believe it's actually... is it Phoenix? So we have Emir. He is racing for Team Full Push. We have High Caliber Racing still in it here. We have the number 15 Phoenix, they're still in. We have number 71 still in. So it's number 88 that's not with us anymore. But King did not manage to overtake Emir after the pits, but the gap will be very, very small compared to pre-pit stop for Emir. And we've seen King do some very good laps. He's currently still holding the fastest lap overall, so around 10 seconds, 11 seconds of gap between P1 and P2 now. But Emir is on the fresh tires, on a full tank of fuel, and King still needs to do at least 1 more pit stop here, I assume, with around 25% of fuel left for the rest of the race here. Little wobble there out of the corner towards Mulsanne straight, but he kept the car on track this time. But he lost some momentum, so yeah, that's it. Ducky's now 3.3 seconds behind Dylan. Dylan, he's really using his tires for his advantage here. And Klusman with a penalty in P9. Cam in P8 in the Ferrari, the newest car in the grid here, with a nice slide again out of the corner. But Cam, mate, as I've already told you, it looks great, but it costs time, and you don't have time to spend at the moment. Andrino for 9PP Racing in P7 at the moment. And P3 in class, of course that is. Again, in a small picture shown, bottom left you can see the actual livery for the car that's not loading on track. Furo in P6 overall now. Pitting again. Needing to refuel his car. JD has been in the pits again. Big Mac's pitting now too. So overall we have Emir, King, Big Mac, that's the LMP1s. Then in P4 in class we have Furo, and that's it for the LMP1s. In LMGT3 we have Pulsit in 1, JD in 2, Vader in 3rd place, Cam in 4th, Klusman in 5th, Dylan in 6th, and Ducky in 7th. So some of the guys here really showing the potential they have in them. Not looking at my own driver, of course, that is, in his 2nd overall endurance race. Yeah, but Ducky just needs to hope that Dylan's tires will soon die out on him. With 2.2 seconds of a gap between the two. And with the penalty, Ducky will come close again. As you can see, the gap almost is shrinking. Or it is shrinking now. Gap is below 2 seconds for Ducky now, so as you can see now 270 for Dylan, and at the same spot 275 for Kian. So the Nissan is a tad bit faster than the Lamborghini. Duckies are mediums, yes. So Dylan naturally has the better grip, but the tires will wear out faster, especially on the mid to rear engined V10 Lamborghini, having much of its weight on the rear axle. Also has the penalty to serve, but out of the corners he is faster than the Nissan from Ducky. But Ducky is able to stick with the Lamborghini here for most of the times. So it's going to be coming down to the wire between the two. And Dylan with a small mistake there, it costs time. The 5/10 penalty will be more of a second. Slow out of the corner again, now serving his penalty. And now you can see Ducky really closing in on him again. Gap is below 1 second now. JD approaching in his Aston Martin. And Klusman is in the pits again. And Dylan really has some issues with his car right now. Ducky on the mediums is faster through the corners. Tough battle for P10 there. He has some issues with the dirty air. And he needs to remember to give way to JD as well as soon as possible. But JD is hopefully not interfering with the great battle we can see for P10 here. Yeah, now he is. He's switching inside of them, and Dylan with another penalty. This time it's a second, and now he really needs to make a move and make room for JD, and he is not doing it. Almost pushing JD on the grass there, or fully on the grass I should say. And Dylan is still not giving room to the leader, or second place in class I should say. That's gonna be another penalty for blocking the faster car on an overlapping attempt. Now it seems like JD is able to make a move there. Yes, he's now through, but that cost him a huge amount of time. And we need to remember JD is aiming towards the lead again, with a little bit of a gap of 1 minute 19 at the moment, but he lost out by like 5 to 10 seconds. I assume with all the blocking he faced from Ducky and Dylan over the last few meters of the track. But yeah, battle for P9 it is now because of the pit stop by Klusman. But it's a really, really fierce battle between Kian and Dylan here at the moment. And Kian will overtake Dylan at the penalty spot, at least. Maybe even earlier, if he's daring to. So yeah. Oh, there's a dive bomb by Kian! He's not sticking the move, he's not making the corner. And if everything goes south for him now, he will receive another penalty for leaving the track, but it seems like he got lucky there. And now he's trying to force Dylan into another mistake by flashing the lights at him, trying to confuse him with his surroundings. Oh yeah, damage for Ducky, you're right. I completely ignored that by looking at the track. And damage for Dylan as well. And this is gonna hurt him even more on the straights. Rear bumper damage for Dylan, front bumper damage for Ducky. Yeah, the camera perspective wasn't the greatest to really see that. Could be the factor that caused Ducky to go off track there. I can't remember, unfortunately, how to do the replay stuff here. It's been a while since I was commentating GT races. Yeah, front and rear bumper respectively. But honestly, that was about to be expected. But Ducky is now ahead of Dylan again. With the rear bumper damage or rear damage for Dylan. He's gonna lose out even more on the straights. While Ducky is losing out on the corners with the front bumper aero damage. Because his car got a little bit more understeery. They're equally on pace at the moment. Of course, it has to do with the toe as well. Big Mac's overtaking them now, and Big Mac's pulling out of it. Oi, Dylan is now being held up by the LMP1. Spinning out! Dylan's losing the car, so the damage seems to be a bit more severe. No traction on the rear axle, even on the soft tires that are fairly worn out now. So he's now really losing out on a better position, and they will hate to have that for the next stint. There's the way that Dylan moves, he's saying, yeah. Dylan picking up another penalty here. Getting overlapped now again by the LMP1 leading Emir. Yeah, like I said, I can't really show the replay because I forgot how to do them. Ducky went to the inside, had the room there. But yeah. Yeah, so Jalkanen, please elaborate what you mean by there's a difference in braking or with braking on the Lambo. Because braking on a car is braking on a car, you know, by applying pressure on the brake pedal, you brake, reducing speed, being able to turn in. It shouldn't matter which car you drive. Anyways, Dylan has now got a surface penalty. Ducky can pull out a bit more of a lead now, a bit of a gap. Klusman is past both of them, having a better run on the straight and through the corners. in his not loading livery. And there is an incident between the LMP1 and GT3 with 12 close, man, and King. The LMP1 desperate to make the move there in front of the corner or in the corner, basically using the AMG as a brake. And apparently for the quick replay function during races I need to put on a keyboard towards the console. Yeah, sure. There you have your pull setup. No worries. I've shown Emi a couple of times earlier in the stint as well. Not my mistake, you haven't been here watching from the beginning of the stint. Shadow, just saying. It's all your fault. Emi is back with the fastest lap as well, 16.5 seconds gap to King. King did not pick up damage on the incident earlier, or was it Big Mac? I don't even recall, too many German drivers here. Still have overall Emi in first, King second, Big Mac in third, Pool Sitter in fourth, Furo in fifth, JD in sixth, and Vader in seventh. Class-wise, that makes Paul Sitter, JD and Vader 1, 2, 3 in GT3. Yeah, I mean it's a night stint. So we started racing a couple of hours ago already, so the field is somewhat spread out now. Lost some cars, so even less traffic on the track. Oh, and Emir is a bit too eager to overtake Vader there. Could have waited out a bit longer. Emi now with a second penalty. King barely made it to the pits. And Emi is way faster than, for example, Big Mac. By a huge amount he's faster. Big Mac's now being overlapped by the leader. Well, if you're referring to the great meme we all know about Lamar and the question what you could do in the middle of the night during a 24-hour race, I will not recommend you doing heroin. Don't do that. Oh yeah, sorry, when you say pole sitter, I'm thinking of the actual pole sitter and not the driver pole sitter, I'm sorry. Well, cocaine it was, sorry, but don't do that either. If you're tired and want to have a good sleep, go drink some electrolytes, have a nice cup of tea, tuck into bed, and just sleep. Don't do drugs, kids. You may ask that question to the crazy Florida man taking over the stream for the next stint, though, and see what his advice on the topic is. Anyways, we have the LMGT3 pole sitter named Pole Sitter on screen, so Shadow Chef can see how Pole Sitter is doing. He's currently sitting in pole for LMGT3s, and now I don't know how to incorporate even more Pole Sitter wordings, so we're just gonna watch the Pole Sitter named Pole Sitter sitting in pole in LMGT3s. I hope somebody kept track how often I just said pole sitter over the last 5 minutes. Big Mac has been lapped, yes. He has been lapped once so far. What do you mean by kinda sus, Luna? I just laugh how Squishy's comment got banned by YouTube because he said the F word, which isn't allowed apparently here in chat, but the C word Luna dropped is allowed. Ricky might check your mod settings here for the chat. Or is it just my mobile not refreshing? No. It's an issue too, actually. Did Shady crash? No, he didn't. He's just driving safe and sound here. At least I don't know if he's crashed, but apparently he's been to the pit later than Pole Sitter. And he's just done his personal fastest lap. Probably more to do with the overlapping LMP1 cars he had to face earlier. Especially if you see his timings, he has been all over the place for the last few laps there. Oh, JD almost crashed. He's went into the gravel. Vader's doing fine, I'd say, Justin. Mr. How do you know my government name while you use it everywhere except PlayStation Network? He's done low 401s most of the races. Now going up a bit again on the low 2s. But he's showing progress, he's showing steady improvement. Only thing is not showing improvement is my game loading liveries, because we're still having some empty cars here. Vader's about to be lapped by LMP2 or LMP1 P2 driver King. But so far he's shown that he's somewhat comfortable with the R8. So let's see how he's gonna do with the back and forth swapping with Jack later. Because, as you know from the Stint lineups the team principals have to send in, I can tell you that we will have for 9PP Racing Andrew now, or Vader as he's named here, then we'll have Jack, then we'll have Andrew again, then we'll have Jack again. So the next stints are just two drivers swapping back and forth until Mateusz is taking over Stint 9, Jack Stint 10 again, Justin doing the second to last stint, and Platypus, Perry, BX Royal closing out for 9PP Racing. But yeah, Vader is showing some good stuff here and there. Anyways, anybody got some wishes on who to show? Otherwise, I'll probably just put the camera back towards the back here with Ducky trying. Oh, he's using his indicators or his hazard lights because he is a track hazard with the damage apparently. But yeah, as you can see, Ducky has no shot at closing out the gap to Klusman with the damage, so might be not worth too much the stuff happening at the back here. Dylan again with a penalty. So Dylan really is having some trouble and issues around the track here. He's picking up penalty after penalty, lap after lap. It's not the best outing I've seen from the... It's not the best outing I've seen from the Nova Motor Esports guys here this stint. Dylan is not able to close out the gap to Ducky as well. Even with the fresh tires and no damage, he's not picking up that much time towards the Nissan driver. So let's see how it goes for them. And always remember, kids, be nice to each other. Some guys don't have the experience others have when racing here, such as King's picking up penalty after penalty as well, causing him to lose out time towards Emir lap after lap. And even Polsitter picking up a penalty here. The Aston guys are doing 356s at the moment here. It's crazy timings. So the Aston Martins are really, really fast around the track. Vader about 4 seconds per lap slower. Yeah, we don't have any real battles going on here at the moment. Cam with the penalty, Klusman with the penalty. Dylan 52 seconds behind Ducky. Now about to be overlapped by Emir again. Let's see how Emir takes on the Lamborghini. Going around on the left side there. But yeah, otherwise it's pretty calm on track right now. Hobbies. Yeah, well, currently my hobbies are racing virtual cars on virtual tracks against other virtual cars, but real opponents, real memories, you know. Everything else related to cars and engines and stuff. Fixing cars is a hobby of mine too, because I can't do any sports really with all of my injuries I've picked up over the last years. But yeah. So it's video games and fixing cars, and once my private car returns from the engine shop, it's probably gonna be driving a real car on the track soon. But yeah, the gap between Dylan and Polster is staying at around 2:04, so they're equally paced at the moment. Hobby horsing is a great hobby as well. Be right back, guys. So yeah, National Hobby Horsing Champion. That's crazy, man. I'd never sit on a stick playing pretend horse. So if it's something for you, yeah, feel free to do it. I'd be probably more into hobby enduro racing or hobby dirt bike racing, you know? Just having like the handlebars and the wheels and a bit of framework under me and running around being stupid. Yeah, that's more what I would do. At least pretend I have an engine, you know? I mean, I'm not trying to make fun of your hobby, just like I said, I will not sit on a stick and play horse. Nuh-uh. The only horse I'm playing involves a basketball and crazy trick shots, you know? Or me tearing another ACL, possibly. But the Dutch guy as you called him, or Dylan, as we call him here on stream, managed to get the gap down to 50.6 seconds, so he made up 2 seconds over the last 2 laps. Yeah, it might be wise to put that on the Enduro GT server as well, so everybody knows about it. What you stepping down from your little stick, you know. And Dylan is continuing to put down the gap. I mean, I wouldn't wonder nowadays who has which hobby, you know. I'm telling you, what's gone crazy. I mean, even if it's just like a pretend thing, I mean, some people are now hobby dogging, you know, like having a leash without a dog and like going for a walk and stuff. Yeah. Just as football games gone soft, world's gone crazy, you know. But yeah, we still have both of the Aston Martins sitting in 1 and 2 in class. So let's face it, guys, the Aston Martin, especially with the allowance of aero setups, is just way too overpowered. So we should say that pure rookie driver Darth Vader is actually running in P1 because the Astons are running in their own class. The AMR and the EGT AMR. Yeah, pole sitter. Yeah, exactly. We have LMP1s, AMRs, and proper GT3s. Ricky, I hope you can hear that. So, might be an idea for next season, having the Aston Martins running in their own class. Or just don't allow the Aston Martins. Because even with the updated Bob, they're too good. Yeah, the other one is worse because it's older, so it doesn't have as good as aero as this one. And I believe because it doesn't have the V12 in it. So in theory, with the full BOP on, the new Ferrari should be the overall fastest car because it has the best aero of all of them. But let's see, I mean, Polyphony kind of hinted at a possible 911 GT3R release. Only thing is, on the screenshots in game, now you can see that it's just the 911 RSR from 2017, but the bodywork looks like the GT3R. So either they just released the body parts, which wouldn't make sense because the RSR is actually a mid-engine car and the GT3R is a rear-engine car. Or they have a full drivetrain swap for those, so they change completely on the behavior. But yeah, let's see. And as you can see, Polestar actually managed to increase the gap to JD by 1 second. Yeah, it's still a good race here. At least everybody's racing great individually. Dylan with another penalty. Amazing! So he reduced the gap to 48 seconds, picked up another penalty. Luna, have you got anything to say towards the Nova guys with another penalty here? Vespenberg. Yeah, Dylan Vespenberg. LMP1 leader real quick. Yes, of course I can, Gran. You're welcome. Which car is fucked? So yeah guys, we're about to enter the pits. Stint 5 is coming to an end. Rekas is gonna take over for Stint 6. I'm not sure if the stream is already on for him. It should be, at least in a few. So, thank you guys for hanging out here. I don't know when or if I will return, honestly, because for me it's 1 AM at the moment. So when Rekas finished his stint, it's gonna be 3 AM. Maybe I'll try to cover some early stints pre-afternoon or pre-noon, in morning times, whatever. So we'll just have the last laps here on this stint 5. Rekas is gonna do the next stint. Let me check where he is. Yeah, exactly that Rekas. I know him from HRC. Yeah, I mean, let's just hope some more stuff is about to happen. Let's see all the gaps here real quick between all the cars. Dylan Vespenberg has reduced the gap to 46 seconds now. Luna, just so you know. So yeah, Rekas is about to hop on. He's trying to sign into PSN, but to cite him, PSN is having a fit with me trying to sign in. That's what he said. Yeah. Sooner or later, penalties I will not be just giving to a combat to Vespenberg. Klusman! I can, Phil, I can. No worries. I hope that was enough time for you to take the photo of Klusman. Oh yeah, true, Rekas is still on a PS4, right. Maybe that's the issue. He's gonna have to upgrade next year anyways. But apparently Rekas is not gonna take over for the commentary because he has some issues. Nah, it's not his PlayStation 4 that's throwing a fit, it's the Google account for the Enduro GT stream. So the next stint will be streamed on Twitch on the Hammers Racing Community channel, because he is still logged into that. So that's Hammers Racing Community on Twitch, unfortunately. As you can tell, my name is still Freeze, as I've mentioned multiple times today, Luna. I think we phrased together already too. No problem, Luna. I assume we're at least on one server together, because I'm chilling on the GPL server as well. And as you can see, the first GT3 car is in the pits. So, Stint 6 is gonna be on its way in a few seconds, with Polster entering the pits now. So yeah, like I said, I enjoyed it. Hear y'all probably somewhere, sometimes tomorrow again. Hop over to Twitch. Y'all should know the channel from the Race for Charity event last or 2 months ago, I should say. It's twitch.tv/Hammers Racing Community. Hop over there, have a good time with Wreckers. And let's see when we will hear us again. This lobby here is about to come to a close. JD is entering the pits as well now. Check the comment real quick again. I've shared it on the Enduro GT server already. I don't have the permissions to do it here on YouTube, I believe, because it would be a channel link. Wait, let me try it though. Enduro GT, bing bang. Bing bang. Let me try. No, I can't even chat here. I can't even type a message here. What the fuck is going on here? Let me do it again like this. Like that, like this, like this, like this. This is the link to the Twitch channel where Stint 6 will be streamed, guys. As I said, hop over. Thanks for being here with me. Thanks for bearing my hard accented German, or English I should say, my German accented English it is. Rekas is about to hop on, and maybe we will catch us in the morning hours of the Sunday, which already started for me here in Germany. We're just waiting for all the cars to join the pits. And amazingly, Luna, look at it, last lap, or not last lap for him I should say, Dylan Vespenberg picked up another penalty of 0.5 seconds. Vader's a lap down, he still needs to run a few laps more. Vader's pitting now. Cam is gonna pit. Klusman, Ducky and Vespenberg still need to do another lap before pitting. Yeah. Honestly, one of my brighter commentary moments, coming up with that nickname. Let's see if Dylan Vespenberg can finish this lap without picking up another penalty. Biblical scenes, he's close to finish this lap. We still need one more lap from him without a penalty, and then we can call it a day for him. Yeah, game's gone soft. So now Mate, honestly, I don't even care about being a commentator right now. Do it for the meme. Pick up another penalty. That's what matters here. Let me check if he's gonna do another stint soon. Nova. Okay, it's not even this guy again. It's not Vettel fan. Dylan was supposed to do stint 6. He's gonna do stint 9 again. So another 2 hours of picking up penalties for him. Yeah, he should call it a night now, mate. Remember time difference from America to Europe, you know? Let's switch on board with him on his way to pick up another penalty here in the night of Le Mans. Is about to call it a night. I mean, I can give you the proper POV with the steering wheel. Will he finish the lap without a penalty? Will he lose the car? Tire, the rear left tire doesn't look great anymore. Biblical scenes. We're live with Dylan Vespenberg. You're misspelling it. It's wait. I'll help you to understand what I'm saying. Not first pen. It's fast pen, you know. It's weird to see your own name commentating. Anyways, he still has a few corners to go. If you can attend the 24 hours of Nürburgring racing next year, like the real one, I will tattoo it on your calf. I don't care. I'll bring my tattoo machine for that. But it seems that Dylan Vespenberg is finishing the lap strong without a penalty. Let's see, he's not allowed to bottle the pit entry. Ah, he managed to not pick up another penalty. What a great, strong ending for him here in the EGT. You know, the Enduro GT abbreviation EGT sounds awfully close to edging. I don't know if Ricky has thought about that or if he's done it on purpose. I'ma just leave it like that. That's the late night thoughts for me. Anyways, lads, cheers for being here with me. Hope you all enjoyed it. Stint 6 is now going with all the cars. Swap over to Twitch. Link is in the channel. Link is in the chat. Link is on the Discord. We will hear us later, maybe. Bye bye.